Everything you need to know about music publishing 2025. It's one of those things, there should be money waiting for you as soon as you go and set up your account. You don't need a publisher. You can collect all of your publishing. I don't want you guys leaving money on the table. Everything you need to know about music publishing 2025. I'm a music attorney. I've done this for over 10 years, and then I've been playing music and instruments and all that good stuff since I was like 4. Very important that you collect all your royalties. So I'm going to teach you about music publishing, and I'm going to tell you where to go collect your royalties. If you're excited, smash that like button. Let's go. Okay, so like I said, I've been doing music for a very, very long time. And I kind of like launched my own career as Miss Krystle in my teens. And I still didn't know about all the different music platforms on how to collect your royalties and the fact that there are different types of royalties that you need to know about. I don't want you guys leaving money on the table, so that's why I'm doing this video. So where I want to start is just by saying, if you put your music on music platforms, so you want your music on Spotify, you want your music on Amazon, wherever, you have to, keyword, have to go through a music distributor. So when you sign up for an account on a music distributor, you then give your music to the distributor, you tell them when to release your music, then your music gets released to music platforms. When you get paid from those music platforms, those platforms pay your music distributor, who then pays you. These are royalties related to the song itself. It's really important to distinguish this. And I heard someone say this recently. They go, when you get into the booth, right, and you actually record the song, you can press play on the song and you can listen back to what you did. That's what is often referred to as the master, okay? So it's the final recorded version. Often if we sign with record labels, the final recorded versions of our songs are what the label own. That's not what we're talking about today. So that's all this money. We're pushing it over to the side. You're going to just go ahead and sit back and collect your tens of cents from Spotify through your music distributor. What we're talking about today is what's called publishing, and publishing is the word used in connection with the song itself, aka the composition. So Chance the Rapper once described the composition as like the idea of the song. That's not quite right, but also I kind of like it. So it means we're not talking about the actual recording. We're talking about the structure of your song, your chords, your lyrics. And we think of like Taylor Swift, right? Because Taylor Swift has rebelled and she decided to re-record her songs once the contract terms that she had expired, saying she couldn't do that. She waited it out. And then when she was able to, she just went and re-recorded her songs. The idea of the song, and more legally specific, the composition. For example, we think about like cover songs. If you go and cover someone's song, you're making a new version of the song. But the person who originally wrote the song still owns the composition. So bringing it back home, we go, well, if now there is money made in association with the original composition, that is what we call publishing royalties, or otherwise publishing income. Think publishing. Things used to just be so different when there was like physical cassette tapes and CDs, and there were different sides of music, and there were different rights holders and people who represented all these different creators in the music. And now I think the reason why it's just gotten so extra confusing, because it was already confusing, is that now everything is digital. But that's why we're doing this video, and that's why I want to make sure you're collecting all of the different types of royalties that are due and owing to you for the music that you create. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little hit list at the end of this video, just basically simplifying it for all the royalties. Where do you go? Where do you register? What do you do? Okay? But we are just going to focus on the composition, right? So just the publishing today for the meat of this video. All right, so then logically, the next step from here, and the conversation usually turns to, well, what about getting a publisher? I need a publisher in order to collect my royalties. Now, traditionally, the publisher, and sometimes called an administrator, is just someone who comes in to represent the idea of the song. Again, the composition. And the reason why, publishers can be really helpful is that they have the little list I'm going to give to you. So they're going to go through the process. It can be kind of time consuming because, quite frankly, you're going to go and you need to know titles of songs, how long is the song, who are the writers, what's the split. And it's a little bit of a headache. That's why, you should always do this, because as soon as you get a publisher in the mix. It's going to be someone who takes a portion of your money, and you don't need a publisher. You can collect all of your publishing. And the way that you do that is first by registering with your performance rights organization where you live. Okay, that's where we're going to start. So here in the United States, where I live, there is BMI, ASCAP, and CSAC. It's a little harder to get membership with CSAC, so we're just going to take that off the list. So basically, it is BMI and ASCAP. I have been with BMI for a long time. No real complaints. What's the difference between the two? Not really that much. And as of the recording of this video, I believe BMI now charges like $50 to become a member, whereas they never did before. I think ASCAP is still free. If that's the case, maybe that makes more sense for you to join. But in any case, you register with a performance rights organization. If you are in a different country, it's going to be a different organization for you. But basically, this is the organization that is going to pay you publishing. So if your song is played in a bar, in the mall, wherever, the publishing has to be paid somewhere. And the way that this has been set up is just to make sure that you do get paid, because otherwise there would just be no way for you to even know and to get paid. So it is set up to have you succeed, but you have to take the step to actually register with a performance rights organization. Right? One in the country that you live. I want to be clear. So if I'm like saying, hey, ASCAP or BMI, I'm not saying both. Pick one. So step one, register with a PRO in your country. Check. Then, logically, you should be thinking, well, where else can I register outside of my country, right? Aren't there more countries? The answer is yes. The only place I've ever been able to find is called Songtrust, which collects publishing from other countries because they've done the deals. I have my music on that platform. And so if you are interested in collecting your publishing in other countries, again, you have to do the first administrative step of setting up your little document, having a list of your songs, who are the rights holders, right? What are the percentages? If it's just you, amazing, because then that kind of just simplifies things. But if not, take the time to do this, because for the list I'm going to go through at the end of this video, guess what? You have to register your music. And you need this metadata. Having this running master list of your music is gonna just save you so much time later on, and it's gonna eliminate the need to like rush out to a publisher who's gonna, take some percentage of your money for doing work that probably is like 2 hours of administration that you should just do for yourself, respectfully. Now, for any of you who are considering some kind of publishing deal, administrative deal, there's, sub-publishing deals, cool. I'm happy to help you. Reach out anytime. My law office is Delgado Entertainment Law. What you're looking for is what a company or person can do for you that you cannot do for yourself. So for example, if an administrator comes in and they're like, hey, I can help you with registering with the different PROs, but then also I can help you with pitching your music for TV and film and games. Like if someone's coming in to do something real special and they're just a unicorn, perfect. I love it. But don't sign a contract without having it reviewed by someone who knows what they're doing, aka not just an attorney, but someone who actually understands this industry standard and can get you the best deal possible for the shortest amount of time possible. Now, let me be super clear about something. When you go and register with a PRO, typically they're going to break up the percentage of publishing and they'll be like, hey, half of it is for the publisher's share of publishing and the other half is for the writer's share of publishing. You're like, what do I do if I don't have a publisher? You represent yourself in the beginning of all of this and you might still today, right? If that's the case, you collect both sides. You are your publisher. You are the writer. Does that make sense? So don't feel like you have to go and get a publisher. You don't have to go set up a publishing company. You just register and you collect all sides. Now, if you are interested in setting up a publishing company for yourself, I have done a deep dive video on just how to do that. So I got you covered either way. And that's also something that my law firm can do for you, but I promise it is something that you can do on your own if you're kind of a DIYer. Okay, so I promised you a list. All right, get your pen and your pad out. Ready? This is your absolute essentials. And I will clarify what's specific to the United States, but most of these are kind of international, right? So we're going to start with number one, the Performance Rights Organization. So on the topic of this video, which is everything you need to know about music publishing and making sure that you are in fact collecting all your publishing in 2025. PRO, check. If you want to distribute your actual master, the final recorded version of your song that you got in the booth and you can press play and listen to, you distribute that in order to collect the royalties that are earned from music platforms. You just make sure you have your bank account set up through your music distributor. Try not to get locked out. Try not to fake boost, so they have a claim against you and then they go ahead and just take all your royalties. That's a whole other issue that we'll cover in other videos and have covered in other videos. But that's the second category, which is royalties from music platforms. Check. You also want to collect your non-interactive streaming royalties, which you can do from SoundExchange. So again, it's one of those, you gotta go register, give all the metadata, but SoundExchange is great because as money is coming in for your music, even if you are not on the platform yet, that revenue is being set aside for you. So it's one of those things, there should be money waiting for you as soon as you go and set up your account and register your music. So you're gonna go and get registered with SoundExchange, check. Now, this is specific to the United States, which is the Mechanical Licensing Collective. And so this is a government organization that is set up specifically for the mechanical royalties, right? So if there are cover songs done of your song, you would get paid from music platforms who then pay the mechanicals to MLC. And then Mechanical Licensing Collective pays you. So you need to be registered, have your songs there. Now, pro tip. The other one I'm going to mention, which I already mentioned, is Songtrust. So Songtrust just being a company that will collect publishing worldwide, but they also will register your stuff with the MLC. So 2 birds, 1 scone. Let that sink in for 2 seconds. So MLC, if you're in the United States, and then if you don't want to register with MLC and you're doing the song trust thing anyway, great, love it. And lastly, this is really important for me to clarify because I will get questions from people who are like, hey, my music's registered with BMI and that protects my copyright, right? No, it does not. Everything we just talked about are the royalties, right? Money that is associated with your music that you are getting paid on. The process of copywriting something is filing documents with the government. So you go, hey, government, I'm letting you know I wrote this song. I own it. And then we're doing that because it is required to actually register and get a piece of paper saying you own a song in order to file a lawsuit. And then if you want to hire me because I need to sue someone on your behalf for copyright infringement, if you want to get reimbursement of your attorney's fees, if you want to get statutory damages, which are sometimes in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So meaning it's set by law. All of these things do not happen unless you have a copyright registration. Now, just for context, right, of just like, how much is this going to cost me to get these copyright registrations? As of the recording of this video right now, a copyright filing, if your song or your album is already released, is $65. That's the government filing fee. If it is an unreleased kind of thing, the government filing fee is $85. But the good news is that you can have an album of a whole bunch of songs that you file all at once. But it is extremely important. Please pause, breathe, listen. It's extremely important that you get a copyright registration within a month of actually releasing your song. Now, if you're like, Krystle, I have a song I released last year and I didn't get my registration. Can I go and do it now? Of course you can. And please do. But it's really important that you do it ASAP because the timing matters. If someone really does come and steal your song, your ability to sue them and get statutory damages and all of that is contingent sometimes on how fast you filed your copyright. So that's why I'm going to make sure just to emphasize it in this video. If you found this helpful, give me a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I'm Top Music Attorney. I'll see you on the next one.